Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. You know, I just smacked this phone. You know what I had to do? You know what I had to do today? I had to smack it into my tub. Now, here's what happened. You know, sometimes you're on the toilet, and you're working on the phone, and your hand kind of passes over the toilet, and the phone slips. And then you just reflexively just start batting at it, you know? So I was lucky, I smacked my phone into the tub. Has that ever happened to you? That's happened to me.
I smacked it into the tub.
Yeah?
But I have definitely smacked my phone, like, to avoid it from hitting the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you fall into a lake or a pool or something like that, even if you're mindless, yeah, you throw it towards the grass. Absolutely. So I'm guessing that's probably happened to everybody. And I was thinking about this in the shower today. I mean, I don't know why, but I remember back before cell phones, and even back before cell phones. EK's all over the place. Back before cell phones, it was very playful to push somebody into the lake or into the pool and stuff like that. Nowadays, there's a lot more risk involved. You know, you can really piss some people off by doing that kind of stuff. So anyway, welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I got to text somebody back. I don't think he's such a good friend. He doesn't know when I go live. Live on YouTube now, buddy. You know that thing I do. Alrighty. I don't want to be rude to my good friends, because I do have good friends. I'm going to talk some more about them. All right, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, this is going to be the last show of the year. Just giving EK a break, giving myself a break. I need to catch up on my writing. I don't know. I'm just friggin' tired. But it's okay. It's okay. So this will be the last show of the year. I appreciate you guys hanging out this year and so forth. What do we got? Is this in the shot? Is that my bag?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Don't let them see in my bag. That's where I keep all my ideas. Notebooks.
I don't want your bag live on camera either.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll put my pants on now. All right. So, yeah. Phone issues. I got to get a new phone.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm scared it'll be like a different size, and I'll immediately hate it. If it's smaller or bigger than I'm used to, I'll immediately hate it. Anyway, so would you go to a Christmas party? Any Christmas parties? I went to a Christmas party, and when you're the kind of guy who does this kind of thing on YouTube and stuff like that, you get a lot of crossover between friends and subscribers. So I had lots of friends, a lot of good friends there, and many of them subscribe and watch this show. Hey, yeah, I saw you there. You were there. I saw you. Yeah, you were there. You were the one with the pickles. You were throwing pickles at people, right? Sticking them to their faces, like those. You were talking about the people throwing cheese on a baby's head to make them stop crying, and so you tried to prove it works with adults. So you started throwing pickles at people. I remember you. I was that cool guy. You remember? You weren't even there. I'm talking to EK like he was there, but I do have some great friends. I went to a Christmas party, and so I get some overlap between viewers and friends. And so I got a critique. I got what is that called? A constructively criticized. And I love it. Feel free to do that. Always feel free to do that. That's why there's a comment section. If I wanted to be like, I don't know, Steven Crowder, I could shut it off. But I'm not. You can comment down below. And I really appreciate some friends who take the time to really give me a good constructive criticism. Now, I'm not going to put this guy's government name out there or nothing like that. So let's just call him Commander Cold. So Commander Cold says, like, oh yeah, man, I'm the guy who likes your video. I'm the guy who puts the likes on your video. I was like, oh, well, I appreciate it. And so I asked him outright. I said, can I have some constructive criticism? Anything you like, dislike about the show? And he said, you're abrasive. And I was like, ooh, okay, I get that. Could you be more specific? And so he had to think a little bit, and okay, I don't like how you will use GD or JC. And I was like, my brother in Christ, are you getting on to me? Are you taking me to task for my blasphemy on my show? because you have every right to do so. You have every right to do so, my brother in Christ. Call me out on my blasphemy. You know, I deserve it, and this is why I love constructive criticism. You know, because sometimes I don't think about stuff like that. Plus, maybe I've been walking too frequently with sinners that I haven't come around too many other Christians yet, and somehow, you know, it makes me feel, I don't know, like less alone in the world to know that there's other Christians out there. And I'm a Christian, and yeah, I do blaspheme from time to time. I'm a writer, a podcaster, YouTuber, whatever, and I need the access to every single tool in the tool bag. But if I am a Christian, and it does turn off people, especially like Southern people. So, yeah, Captain Cold is from the South. That's how he got in the business. And, you know, people, Southerners, they generally don't like swearing. And so I guess I could do a little bit more in that regard. Short of putting a blasphemy jar right here on the table, you know, while I do my shows. But I think the real issue is to stop me from using it as often. Don't get me wrong. If I need God to come and damn something, I'm going to call him down to do it. All right. Okay. Because I think intent matters. All right. And do you think Jeezy Creasy counts? Does Jeezy Creasy count? I don't know, but I'm going to try. I mean, it's real simple stuff. Instead of saying like kiss my ass, you know, you say kiss my grits. It's more fun. And people are like, oh, I remember that show. And so, you know, I guess there is utility to changing the way you speak. And if you use too many curse words and it turns some people off, I get it. I do. But at the same time, you know, I'll just put it like, I'll tell you the story. 2 years ago at Halloween, I let an F-bomb slip in front of my niece. All right. And my sister was furious. And she had every right to be furious. And so ever since then, I made a concerted effort to reduce the number of F-bombs that I use. And so now I have replaced it with the word farts. So, you know, if I cut I'm cutting up some onions or something like that, and I cut a finger, I go, ooh, farts. You know, just lean on the F a little more and say, I'm going to say something other than what I want to say. You farting jerk. You know, it makes you rethink it. And I made a concerted effort since I dropped that F-bomb in front of my niece to stop using the F word as often. So it should have been more of a priority for me to watch my blasphemy. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Captain Cold. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your subscription and the one like you give on all my videos. And so if you look at my videos and there's one like, that's him. So thanks, buddy. And I do appreciate the constructive criticism. I think your wife is hilarious. She cracks me up. And I don't know, I think she generally thinks highly of me because I've written books. Some people can't wrap their mind around, you wrote a book? Like 700-word book? You sat down and wrote 700 words in a row and meaning, yeah. Some people can't handle that. They're too ADD, you know what I mean? So, and then some people can't understand how I can sit here and talk to a camera for an hour and try to keep it interesting. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I can do it, you know, because I try to do it anyway. So you are right. It didn't really, you know, the blasphemy thing didn't really solve the abrasive issue. It kind of, abrasive stuck in my mind a little bit. And so I finally asked, you know, am I a dick? And another friend, and I'm so blessed that I have friends that are nicer than me. And this one friend, well, you're honest. Which is a qualified yes. And so, yeah, I'm a dick. And it's because I'm honest. I'm blunt and I'm forward and in that regard. I don't dilly-dally. I don't beat around the bush. That kind of thing. And if that makes me a dick, I'm sorry. So, I mean, it's not like I could correct everything. I'm going to be abrasive. I'm going to be abrasive as soon as I switch subjects. Sorry. But I'll try to rein in all my GDs and my JCs, you know, and all my Fs. I'll try to do that for you. But there's some things I can't change about my personality. And so there's always going to be that element of this. And so, you know, even if I hover at 150 subscribers for the rest of my life till the day I died, just, you know, it's okay. I'm proud of those units. Proud of every single one of those units. Oh, thirsty. When it's dry out in winter, you're thirsty. All right. Now that I'm done talking about what a good Christian I am, let's talk about racism racistly. Let's racistly talk about racism. I've had it up to here. I've had it up to here with entitled racist black people. And I'm not just talking about Barack Obama. All right. Here's how this whole thing started. I was watching a police body cam video. I know I watch too many of these things. I was watching a police body cam footage, and it was the situation was the cop showed up, and this woman had come into the store and stripped all her clothes off, pissed on the floor, and refused to leave the premises. I think she marking it or something. Now we could skip over all the behavior, all the questioning about why a person would behave this way, and just talk about her interaction with the cop. And she's got up in his face, and she's ranting about like, it's like, you can't touch me because I'm black. God's on my people's side. Blah blah, racist blah. And I'm so sick of it. And it's like, it's just because a cop shows up and is white and you're committing a crime doesn't mean there's any racism involved. You know, I'm really tired of this thing where people think they still live in 1961. You know, grow up, you know. I'm sick and tired of this. And frequently you get these young offenders watching these body cam videos who never even lived in the 20th century. And they think that they live in the mid 20th century. Okay. And I'm thinking back to the 80s and 90s, you know, races were really pretty cool. You know, I think we were pretty cool up until the election of Barack Obama. Then race became a big issue again, all of a sudden. You had Ferguson happen. You had the stuff that happened in Minneapolis. And here we are living in almost 2024, and cops are hesitant to use tasers, pepper spray, or even their firearms when dealing with people of color, quote unquote, which is, I hate that phrase, but it's the parlance of our times. All right. And the prosecutors don't even want to prosecute people of color because of the way it'll look in the press, and that somebody's going to shout racism, and then it's going to be a whole thing. And it doesn't have to be. We're not living in those times anymore. You know, black people, you are so loved in American culture. You are ingrained in American culture. There is no story of America without you, obviously. But you got to understand that also you invent every single dance, 90% of the slang, and I'm iffy on that number because Riz can only be made up by a white woman, if you ask me. But like 90% of American slang is made up by black people. You know, we dig your culture, your music, your films. We like you, the law-abiding ones of you. All right, and I'm just sick of seeing these police body cam videos where they think it's not because they're breaking the law. It's because of my skin color or your skin color. You know, I even saw one where a black guy was being arrested by a black officer and still screamed racism. I was like, it's a department policy. No, it isn't. It isn't like that anymore. And it's a narcissistic, like, self-obsession about your racial identity, you know, and it's not and that's, and thinking, if you're thinking your racial identity is better or worse than any other racial identity, you're wrong. You have certain aspects to you. You have the lower bone density, I suppose. You run faster. You know, there are genetic advantages and disadvantages to every kind of racial identity, I suppose. But even then, you know, it all falls into the mid-range of human ability. We're all humans after all. If you have B positive blood, I can give you blood no matter what your skin color. All right? And the blood is red. We all bleed the same color. We're the same creature. Let race go. It's so frustrating because I remember growing up hearing about all this horrible racism that happened in the past, and it was like, and that's awful. It's awful that it happened, but I was also relieved that I thought it would be gone for good. But no, over the last 10 years, ever since Obama, you know, it's gotten worse and worse, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Americans hurting each other. I'm sick of friends and family hurting each other over this ridiculous idea that the content of the amount of melanin in your skin has any bearing on anything whatsoever. I'm just sick and tired of it. I almost cried. I'll get upset. I was thinking about all those people shooting each other in like Chicago and Baltimore, and how nobody wants to investigate these crimes because it could mean black people going to prison. And they don't want to do that. They don't want the publicity of helping to fight crime because they're scared of the optics of who they have to put in prison. It's not about race. It's about the content of your character. That's what it is. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about the content of your character. And for some of you, it's lacking. I know police body cam videos are like the worst humanity has to offer. And it spans all the races, all the different types of people. There's all sorts of dirtbags cops are dealing with. All right? Don't get me wrong. Because we all can be equally smart or equally stupid. It's the content of your character. Anyway. I'm going to talk about one more thing. I was hoping EK would be in here for this. One more thing before I talk about a movie review. EK and I were talking yesterday about how sometimes you run across truly evil people in this world, and you don't think justice is ever going to find them, you know. And so we were talking about he was talking about a song called the Vandal song, something about, you know, some people are going to hell. And I was like, yeah, some people are going to hell. And I've been listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson's lectures on Genesis lately, again, for like the 5th time. And, you know, he talked about how some people think that hell is a place where Christians could put their enemies. And yeah, I think maybe it is, because sometimes you think that there is no redeeming some people. You run across some people and you're just like, well, that is just straight up evil person, you know. You know, I think it was like I watched a documentary on a serial killer or something like that. And he's like, wow, this guy's just evil, you know? And so, you know, you kind of want a place to put your enemies like hell. But then I started thinking, like, almost immediately afterwards, is like, maybe God's love is bigger than all of our sin. And I'm sitting here thinking, are we going to be able to gloat when we get to heaven? Is there going to be a time period where we can point at the people who are in hell and go, ha, 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 see, we told you, you dirtbags. But I would like to believe that God's love is bigger than all of our sin, and that even you could run into Hitler in heaven, you know? But I mean, do you really want to burn internally? Does anyone want to?
Run into Hitler in heaven, do you think he'd be like, I'm sorry?
Yeah, he would be like totally like, he would always be like this, you know, he'd be like, I'm sorry. really screwed up that one. Yeah, you did, bud. Yeah, you did. And so when it comes to, you know, I don't know, I've met evil people. I dislike them. But even there's some mercy in me. It's like, I don't want them to burn for eternity. You know, do I want them to burn? And so is there any mercy in me? I don't know. Not when it comes to like if you're a dick to me, I'm going to be a dick back to you. So, not directly, but sometimes it's easy from far away to say, do I really want to put all my enemies in hell for eternity? I don't know. I guess there's a little bit of mercy in me. I guess it comes back to me being a Christian. Anyway, let's talk one more movie review for this year. I want to talk about, and I want to give you a doozy, a really good comedy to watch this holiday season. And you need to learn how to laugh at it. You know, let your heart be light this holiday season and enjoy a good comedy. And the comedy I watched was a 1989 movie, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, starring the late greats Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Absolutely should have had full screen on that. Absolutely.
I just feel like you need to do this.
I'm gonna try to send it up. See if we can get for the thumbnail.
There you go.
All right, get that for the thumbnail, or I'll do like crazy gestures. I've been trying to like, maybe if I do the Illuminati thing, I'll get like 500 million subscribers. Anyway, but this is a 1989 movie classic starring the late greats Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Hear no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. I keep flipping it. Dyslexia in my head. You both got ice cream cones on your head. Did you notice their heads? Did you notice that? In New York City, one's blind and one's deaf. Richard Pryor plays a blind guy, and Gene Wilder plays a deaf guy. And your first impression might be, is like, they could never make this movie today. And I say, why not? Why not? Because, you know, it's not like they were making fun of these handicapped guys. All right. There was in no way making fun of them. In fact, they were quite interesting characters. they had very sad stories. Richard Pryor, he was hit by a drunk driver, and that's what rendered him blind. Gene Wilder had a scarlet fever when he was a kid, and when he started getting older, he started losing his hearing. And he was married, and as his hearing was being lost, he moved further and further from his wife, and after he went completely deaf, she left him. Sad stories, and usually people with these kind of handicaps have tragedies like that in their lives. Absolutely. And they acknowledge that is, but it's not something that keeps them down. In the very first scene where they interact in the movie, they don't even know they're interacting with each other. And they're both standing up for themselves. All right, Gene Wilder gets yelled at by some guy on the street, and Gene Wilder starts shouting what he misunderstands of a situation with this other guy. But Richard Pryor's walking by, blind as a bat, and hears Gene Wilder yelling and starts yelling back at him and throwing punches in the middle of the air, stuff like that. These guys may be handicapped, but they stand up for themselves. They're frisky, they're frisky, and they live in New York. You know what I mean? Live in New York. It's 1989 in New York. And Gene Wilder wasn't born deaf, obviously, like I mentioned, but he reads lips, and so he can communicate with people. Richard Pryor is blind, but obviously can speak and talks at length, and he's hilarious in it. Look how thin he is. That one. Yeah. And so there's obviously a whole bunch of room for situational comedy, confusion, and stuff like that. And I remember I was watching one scene, and it made me laugh the hardest, where they're being arrested, and Gene Wilder is getting their picture taken by the lady with the camera, but he can only read the lips. And so Richard Pryor is relaying what the officer is telling him to do, and it's getting him to look at the camera. He goes, look at the camera. It's like, okay, so he looks at the camera. And then she goes, tell him to stay there. And he taps him. So he looks at him so he can read his lips, and he says, stay right there. And so he'd stay there looking at And so it goes back and forth like this, trying to get him to look at the camera. And then she finally gets the shot. She's lining it up. She's like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Then he immediately turns to say something to Richard Pryor. She's like, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. And I was laughing so hard. There are so many scenes like that where it's not making fun of these handicaps. It's just creating this frustration and confusion of, dealing with these impediments in your life. And it's a fantastic situational comedy. Gene Wilder technically witnesses a murder because some guy tells him, read me the things off the instructions on the antacid. So he turns around and starts reading this entire label on the antacid, and the guy gets murdered behind him. And so, he witnessed a crime. And Richard Pryor is trying to get a job. He likes to track, he likes gambling. He always says, he's always like, I want to go to the track. I need some racing forms and some binoculars. And he's always making jokes like that at his own expense, and at other people's as well. It's like, there's one scene where Gene Wilder is like, I feel ridiculous. It's kind of like this scene. It's like, you look fine to me, It's just, and this is kind of how the ice cream cone gag got played twice in the movie. Earlier, it was Richard Pryor just dumped it on his head because they were having this conversation about how Gene Wilder's character was scared of making a fool of himself. He was scared of being embarrassed, and so Richard Pryor just plopped the ice cream cone on top of his head, starts laughing his ass off. He's blind. He can't see it, but he knows exactly what it is, and it's still hilarious and ridiculous. You know what I mean? And that was kind of the lesson of it, is that, we're all going to look ridiculous eventually, one time or another. You need to learn to live with it, And, and that's a common human experience, no matter what your handicap may be. And I think that's what's beautiful about this movie. Not only is it riotously hilarious, but it has this really good message about being friends. They get arrested and they're in there and they're talking to this district attorney or something like that, and he says, they got menses, menses. What is it called? Menses? Yeah, we got menses on them, so we can arrest them. And Gene Wilder's character reads the lips and goes, we got menses? No, mens rea. That's it, mens rea. They got mens rea. And Gene Wilder, he reads that and he goes, we got mens rea. He starts flipping out. He's like, we got mens rea. We got mens rea, but we use condoms. What? It's full of stuff like that. Where it's confusion. There's this one thing where Gene Wilder comes into a room and he doesn't always accurately read lips correctly. Some guy says, "Who the hell are you?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you." It's full of short little one-liners, funny jokes. And my favorite scene is when at the end where Gene Wilder's got the knife and he's going, "I'm going to throw this knife at your head. Stop where you are." And the police come up behind him and they start repeating what he's saying. "Stop where you are, put your hands up." And he thinks he's doing it by threatening to throw this knife at him. It's a great movie. Legends. Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder, legends. I highly recommend this movie. Have the great guffaw that I had while discussing this movie. Just imagine how much I was laughing when I was actually watching it. So I highly recommend See No Evil, Hear No Evil, 1989 film. 13 of 13 stars.
High praise.
High praise. Exactly. Stick an ice cream cone on your head once in a while. Feel ridiculous. Wait till summer. Probably feel better in summer. All right, let's get into the news worth knowing. Yeah, sorry. Moving fast. All right, 2:30 exactly. All right. All right, so Hunter Biden will not sit for deposition by the GOP, says his father was not financially involved in any of his business. Oh, shit. Excuse me. Hunter Biden arrived on Capitol Hill on Wednesday not to comply with the subpoena to be deposed at the House Oversight Committee, but to hold a press conference and again offer to testify publicly. All right, so that's been the whole deal with Hunter Biden. He's wanted to do a public testify publicly, and they want to do a private one. I don't know. Which do you think is better? A public one or private one? Anyway. He maintained that his father, President Biden, quote, was not financially involved in his business and saying there's no evidence because it did not happen. Hunter Biden offered to testify publicly is a de facto rejection of the House GOP. What? I got the wrong verb in here, I think. It is a de facto rejection of the GOP demand that he appear on Wednesday for the closed-door deposition he was subpoenaed for. Period? What the hell? Who wrote this? Brooks Singman. Name sounds familiar. Deposition was scheduled to take place today at 9:30 a.m. Instead, he delivered a public statement on Capitol Hill, blasting MAGA Republicans who have invaded his privacy, attacked his family, and ridiculed my struggle with addiction. Oh, cry me a river. Crackhead, Jesus. Quote, they belittled my recovery and have tried to dehumanize me, like I just did. All to embarrass my father, who has devoted his entire life to public service, the president's son said. For 6 years, I've been the target of the unrelenting Trump attack team. Where's Hunter? Well, here's my answer. I am here. Hunter Biden added that my father was not financially involved in my business. He was not involved in the dealings of the Ukrainian national gas firm Burisma Holdings or his Chinese investments and others in the U.S. No evidence to support my father, blah, blah, blah. If any of the Bush children were doing what you were doing, it would be a major scandal. How did he escape all this? That's my point. How did he escape all this controversy? Doing blow and banging hookers, I guess I'm not saying that if your dad's the president or the vice president, you're not allowed to do cocaine or bang hookers. I'm just saying, why do you need to? Why do you need to have hookers? Why do you have to pay them? Your dad's the president. You should be getting some, anyway, for free, I don't get this. But, any other kid of a president did something like that, especially if he was a conservative, it would be a major scandal as it came out. But a lot of this stuff has been ignored for years, swept under the carpet for years by Biden, the Biden family, and the Democratic Party. I mean, he wants to testify publicly, so I guess regardless, eventually he's going to testify. I'm curious about the reasoning why Congress wants a private one, why they're so opposed to the private one. I don't have my, ear to the ground of the GOP in Washington. I'm just curious. All right, let's talk about a lighter subject then. Casting of Denzel Washington as Hannibal Sparks racial controversy. Yeah, maybe not so light. Historical error. Yeah. The casting of award-winning actor Denzel Washington as a legendary ancient general Hannibal Barca in the upcoming Netflix project has reportedly outraged Tunisians who argue it is racial recasting that erases their history. In a press release, Netflix touted the film as a Carthaginian general who famously led an army of warriors and elephants across the Alps to fight the Roman Republic during the Second Punic War. I'm telling you, I want to watch it. The history of the Punic Wars is fascinating, really kind of amazing. But Hannibal wasn't Denzel Washington black, you know what I mean? He was probably what we'd consider to be Mediterranean now, because Mediterranean has been a thing for a long time. It was like the first melting pot was the Mediterranean Rim, you know what I mean? And so he probably in Tunisia, that was northern coast of Africa, all of Carthage, I think, was under Islam. And so he probably looked Middle Eastern. You know, he probably looked like people look in Egypt now. I don't know. But he wasn't sub-Saharan African. All right. And that's the issue. So Hannibal's home region was Carthage in Tunisia, northernmost state in Africa, considered to be part of the Arabic world. According to the English translation, French language Tunisian news outlet La Presse, the casting of the black actor to play Hannibal is problematic. To consider Hannibal as a black African would be, according to Tunisians and many observers, a historical error, because Carthage, built by the Phoenicians in the current Tunisia, is located just 200 kilometers southwest of Sicily. La Presse summarized ancient historian and author Mary Lefkowitz, pointing out that Hannibal came from the family of Phoenician Semitic settlers, were common in the region. Yeah. The Phoenicians. I think they're like in Lebanon area. So they look like Lebanese. Hannibal looked Lebanese, which kind of looks Italian, which kind of looks Greek. You know what I mean? Mediterranean. But here's the thing, you want to do the show. You want to do an interesting story about an interesting person in history. Fine, I'm all for that. You just have to go get that famous Tunisian actor that who won awards. I never thought I'd see a day when somebody says, I don't think we should have cast Denzel Washington in this role. You kidding me? That man's a fantastic actor. And I think that, I would let it go just to see Denzel Washington act. I don't know. I want things to be historically accurate. I mean, Denzel Washington doesn't look like what Hannibal would have looked like, and so. But it's Denzel Washington. You're gonna get a good show. It's gonna get a good performance out of that guy. So, I think that was probably the casting director was thinking. It's like. But he doesn't look like what Hannibal, but it's Denzel Washington. Do you understand? We're going to have Denzel Washington headlining in our show. Lots and lots of people are going to watch this. We're going to make Netflix tons of money. Because it's Denzel Washington. Anyway, I'm all over the place. I know that. All right, so let's talk about the Seattle student failed a quiz for answering, quote, only women can get pregnant. School responds. Awful at headlines. Nicholas Lanham. Okay. We'll see how you write. History teacher at a Seattle high school allegedly gave a student a failing quiz grade after he answered that only women can get pregnant and only men have penises. A 10th grade ethnic studies world history teacher. What the hell does that mean? Ethnic studies world history? We just had history class. Anyway, at Chief Sealth, International High School administered the quiz. Is it on a border? How's it in international? Anyway, the test focused on understanding gender versus sex and asked students to answer a series of multiple choice and true or false questions. Fox News Digital received screenshots of the exam taken by two separate parents of students at the school. Question 4 of the exam Asked students to identify whether the statement, all men have penises, is true or false. The student marked the statement as true, which was labeled as incorrect by the teacher. Question 7 of the quiz is similar. Asked students to identify whether the statement, only women can get pregnant, was true or false. The teacher, again, marked the student's answer incorrect when he said the statement was true. Excuse me. Several other questions asked students to answer questions like, when somebody uses they, them pronouns, what does it mean about their gender identity? True or false? And a true or false question, transgender people are gay. That's a trick question. True or false? Transgender people are gay. That's a trick question. You can't answer it either way. True, they are gay. That's mean, because not all of them are gay. Some false, but some. It's a trick question, is what I'm saying. Speaking with Jason Rantz, author of What's Killing America on KTTH, the student's mother, who asked to remain anonymous, expressed concern that the school is allowing teachers to bring political beliefs into the classroom. Quote, I keep trying to wrap my head around how it is legal to teach inaccurate information and force students to answer against their beliefs and receive negative scores. All right. She also claims that teachers have called her son F-D and racist. The product of patriarchy that teaches young boys not to care about anything. What? She also claimed that teachers have called her son effed and racist. You're the kid. Oh, wow, awful. You're the product of the patriarchy that teaches young boys not to care about anything. The school outright denied that such name-calling occurred. A district response to Fox News Digital's inquiry revealed that the knowledge check quiz was administered approximately 2 weeks ago at Chief Sealth International High School in ethnic studies class, but it stressed that the quiz results did not impact the final class grade of students. Yeah, I think that Chief Sealth, I've never been able to say his name right. He was like a big deal Native American up there in the Seattle area. Anyway, Seattle Public Schools, this is a quote, course description for the Ethnic Studies World History class underscores that students will be investigating the global economy, society, and culture. Claims that the student was called names have not been reported to SPS. We have confirmed with the school's principal that this is the first reference to any name calling. The district continued. Okay, so the name calling seems a little suspect now. SPS remains committed to fostering inclusive environments that encourage the exploration of contemporary issues, particularly the examination of power systems and racism and the patriarchy. This dedication extends to providing a space for thoughtful exploration and dialogue on these issues. Well, you're not swallowing my lie, so it must be because the patriarchy. Because you're a boy. Because you're a male. You swallow these lies. You swallow these lies, children. You know, I keep hoping this stuff is almost over. This ridiculous nonsense is almost over. But, you know, it just keeps coming. It keeps coming. You know, it's so ridiculous. All right, let's do a story closer to home. Here in Virginia. Down here in Virginia. This is how we live down here in Virginia. All right, 5 Virginian elementary students. I'm sorry for laughing. 5 Virginia elementary students ingest fentanyl-laced gummy bears and require medical attention. This is sad. I'm sorry if I laugh. 5 elementary school students have received medical attention in Virginia after ingesting fentanyl-laced gummy bears, something that one of the children brought from their home, officials said. The incident happened Tuesday at Central Elementary School in Amherst town in Lynchburg, north of Lynchburg. The Amherst County Sheriff's Office said 7 students in total experienced a reaction to ingesting gummy bears at school. The candies were later examined by law enforcement and, quote, tested positive for fentanyl. This is awful. Of the 7 students, 5 needed medical attention. 2 of the students were transported by EMS, and 3 of the students were transported by the parents. Okay, so they had triage there, I suppose. Sheriff's Office added, noting that the investigation of the incident was ongoing. Amherst County Public Schools said in a statement that the affected students experienced an allergic reaction and emergency services were notified immediately. The district said it confirmed that the bag of gummy bears was brought from home by a student. This is a quote, "We will work with the Sheriff's Office as they continue their investigation," it added. The families of the students have been notified of the results. Amherst County Public Schools says that the safety and well-being of our students is our top priority. The incident happened after seven students from the same high school in Loudon, Virginia, overdosed during a 3-week stretch in October, according to the county sheriff's office. This stuff's a real big problem. Holy cow. The Loudon County Sheriff's Office is investigating at least 8 opioid-related overdoses of the Parkview High School students, 7 of which have been reported in the past 3 weeks. The Sheriff's Office said in police press release at the time. 4 of the overdoses occurred in the school, and of these, 3 required the administration of Narcan. 2 of those required CPR by school personnel. Sheriff's Office added that all the overdoses appeared to involve fentanyl, which is commonly found in the form of the counterfeit 30 milligram oxycodone pill that is blue circular and maybe stamped M30. Gummy bears. See, I mean, even, when it came to like the weed stuff, it was like, I don't like to, put it into candy because children will confuse it with candy. When I was a kid, I got into the Flintstones vitamins. And I had like green diarrhea, like bright green diarrhea for like 3 days. And my stomach was all cramped up and stuff. All right. Kids easily, and then you actually make it look like candy. Ugh. It's upsetting. All right, let's hear about this weird story here. 2 weird stories, and then we're out of here for the year. We're done with 2023. A Russian man flies from Europe to LAX without a passport, visa, or tickets. A Russian man flew from Copenhagen to Los Angeles last month without a passport, a visa, ticket, or any record that he was ever on the flight, according to court records. According to an affidavit, federal officials said that Russian names. Sergei Vladimirovich Oklava. My God, I'm sorry, sir. A Russian-Israeli dual national traveled from Copenhagen on Scandinavian Airlines and landed at Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, on November 4th at 1 p.m. without a plane ticket or the proper identification. The complaint states that when Ochigava presented himself for entry at the Customs and Border Protection checkpoint at LAX, CBP officers discovered that he was not a listed passenger on the flight manifest for SK-931 or any other incoming international flight. According to the flight crew, most of them noticed him on the flight, saying that he wandered around the plane and kept changing his seat. In addition to his seat hopping, he allegedly asked for 2 meals during each meal service. At one point, attempted to eat the chocolate that belonged to members of the cabin crew. So he's like, I'm going to keep going until someone stops me. The crew members said they did not see his boarding pass, but did note that the seat he initially took during boarding was supposed to be an unoccupied seat. According to the report, some members of the crew conducted head counts for their specific sections, but only to make sure that the aircraft was balanced for takeoff and landing. One member of the cabin crew said that it looked like he was trying to talk to other passengers on the flight, but most of the passengers ignored him. When questioned, the report said that he gave false and misleading information about his travel to the United States, including initially telling officers that he left his U.S. passport on the airplane. It was discovered that he did not have a passport, but instead had Russian identification cards and an Israeli identification card. He also had a partial photograph of the passport on his phone showing his name, date of birth, and passport number, but the photo did not show the passport holder's photograph, according to the report. FBI agent Caroline Walling, who filed the complaint, shared details from an interview with him on November 5th. He had a PhD in economics and marketing. He last worked as an economist in Russia a long time ago. He claimed that he had not been sleeping for 3 days and did not understand what was going on. He stated he might have had a plane ticket to come to the United States, but he was not sure. He did not remember how he got on the plane in Copenhagen, but it also could not explain how and when he got to Copenhagen or what he was doing there. When he asked how he got through security in Copenhagen, he claimed he did not remember how he got through security without a ticket. He's either lying or just magooed his way all the way to LAX. He was facing charges of being a stowaway on an aircraft, according to the complaint. He is being held at Metropolitan Detention Center pending trial, currently scheduled for December 26th, but subject to change. Our investigation is ongoing, an FBI agent told Fox News Digital. Wild story, huh? So he's either lying or he magooed his way all the way to LAX. You know, it's not easy to get past security at all these different places. And it's only when he's like exiting. And, you know, he doesn't remember how, like, did he get in, like, I've never gotten to a bender and woke up in another country. You know, I suppose, like, if you drink, I guess, like, if you drink at the bars at the airports, I suppose that could happen. If you're the kind of guy that does a lot of traveling and you're like, I'm going to be in this 12-hour flight across the Atlantic, and man, I got to get some liquor in me because I do not want to be awake on flying coach on an airplane these days. I want to be passed out. So maybe you just you're just pounding drinks because you know and just accidentally get on the wrong flight, and somehow everybody is like turns away right as you walk by or something like that. Nobody checks your boarding pass. Nobody checks to see if you have a ticket. And all you had was a photo of a part of a passport. No photo on it at all. What happened? That's a serious security issue. Anyway, let's get this last story, then we're out of here for the year. It's going to be the end of 2023 coming up. For the show, in regards to the show. We got weeks to go, I know. All right, so Fox caught stealing backyard cameras in Arizona. I suspect it might have been a coyote, a wild coyote. An Arizona woman got a huge shock when surveillance footage showed the thief who stole her backyard cameras was four-legged and fluffy-tailed. Esmeralda Aguirola of Tucson noticed on Monday that her 3 motion-activated cameras appeared offline. So she checked the most recent recording in each camera from an app on her cell phone. 3 videos had documented the entire heist was carried out by a gray fox. I quote, I saw him sniffing and messing with camera 1. I went to the second video, which was camera 2. She's really organized. It caught him. This is what she said. It caught him with a camera 1 in his mouth. She told the Associated Press on Friday. That's when I knew, oh my gosh, I think he took all of them. What is he doing with them? So she shared the videos and photos of the intruder fox trotting away on Facebook. It didn't take long for the reactions to snowball, as first reported by the Arizona Daily Star. She tried to search for the cameras, which were a gift and cost around $200, but saw no sign of them. She believes they are sitting in a foxhole. This is a quote. So what if I do happen to see them? Am I really going to poke my hand in there? Finders keepers, she said. You got me good, Fox. You got me good. She plans to eventually get new cameras, only she'll make sure that they are tied down. She said, I may leave one untied with a tracker. But you just said you're not going to go into the fox's den. What would you do with cameras? I'm trying to think, it's not like they'd be warm. Maybe it's just something to scratch your nose with or scratch your back with. What would a fox want with cameras? Okay. So we're coming to the end of the show. I want to remind you again, did I tell you earlier that I have a Patreon? I have patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. I'd appreciate it if you became a patron today. You know, if you don't want to get me something for Christmas, just become a patron. That'd be great. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio. You can follow me on social media. You can see it over here on Twitter. It's at Denalitsaw. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards. Shock Monkey Radio Redux on Facebook. And at SL Robbins 13 on Instagram. Are you out there, EK? because it's going to be Christmas time. Christmas is coming up. We're taking the next couple weeks off. Feel free to comment, in the videos. I would appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe. That helps a lot. Hopefully I'm not as abrasive as I have been. I'll try to work on it until we're working in the new year. I think maybe EK's pooping. I may have to end the show myself. So this is the end of 2023 for Shock Monkey Radio. We'll be back next year on the 3rd. Let me double check that. On the 3rd. Yep. 3rd of January. So look for us to come back in full force in 2024. And so find your favorite clips and share them to people. I also got a BitChute, channel. There, I can be more abrasive on there, I suppose. It's weird. I get different number of views and likes, different areas. I even got some on Rumble, Shock Monkey Radio Rumble. Look for that if you're interested. Yeah. So this has been Shock Monkey Radio. I want you to have a happy and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm the Madman, and I love you. How'd you stop it? How'd you stop it?